This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
I want to know that you'd understand that I don't want to miss you, but what you waiting for? And I don't think anyone could care more. I'm not gonna kiss you any more time, experiencing life in the way you lie. You're just young, don't forget you're only for reminding me you'll
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. How are you doing on this fantastic Friday, April the 7th of 2023, day 97th of the year, and only 268 days to go. I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, hanging out with our friends at RadioBig.fm and doing all the funny stuff that we get to do over there. So don't worry about that, because that's what it's about. It's doing the fun stuff. So how have you been? How has the last 23 been for you? How has the last, the last few's been for you? Because I'm always kind of intrigued on how that works. You know, I have to tell you, I'm always amazed with some of the things that happen inside of this lifetime. Yesterday, I had the fantastic opportunity to hang out with some people. Or really, I was supposed to be hanging out with some person. And all of a sudden, it was a web video chat that was supposed to be one person that they tried to add 6 more people. And the person was stressed out because I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand why we have to have an audience inside of here. And they were like, there's stakeholders that need to be involved, but that's not who requested the call. I get so confused sometimes on how, some of the corporate agenda stuff works. It's like, you're the point of contact. And it's been bothering me in my head on how we sometimes visualize some of these weird things that we go on through in life. And I think one of the best things I've ever read in my life is Todd's book, Todd Conklin's book, I guess I should be a little bit more specific, of Simple Revolutionary Acts. And the whole quote where he has inside of the book that work is just work. People stress out way too much about work. Work is just work. It really is. And listen, I know it's Freeform Friday and we're supposed to be talking a little bit about everything, and that's the reason why we're starting off like this. Because, geez, let's kind of decompress a little bit in regards of what's going on. I mean, these stressful situations that we manage to put ourselves in because on how we stress out about work. Here's the thing, and it's a shitty thing to say, but I think we need to talk about it right away on Good Friday. If you were to pass away, your job would replace your ass within 2 weeks. I know it's a terrible thing to say, and people don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. It's just the way that it goes. And let's be realistic. If you're a business owner, I know that's not the case. So whoever wants to send me a message telling me that, I get it. But listen, sometimes we just do some weird stuff when it comes to work, and I just don't get it. So, in that being said, let's talk about what's going on today. It's Free for Friday. We're going to do a little bit about everything. We'll talk a little bit. We'll have some fun. At least that's what the plan is as we are starting. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That will get you through the systems, get us through the messaging, any kind of messaging you want to do inside of there, video, audio, or actual text. So there you go. The other portion is our show is about safety in the news and safety, but on Freeform Friday, we do a little bit of everything. Some people like it, some people don't. Hey, I get it. Some people don't even love the 1 minute devotion, which I think is an important aspect to our whole thing. But hey, there you go. That's something to talk about. But with that being said, let's do this. Let's talk right away about what is trending and what is on tap.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. FedEx announces some restructuring, and Ukraine activists stick it to the Russian war volunteers. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the shit list. RFK Jr. files paperwork to run for president, and Michigan repeals its abortion ban. We'll talk about that. Hugh Jackman updates fan on his skin biopsy, and Carol Burnett reveals what's left on her bucket list. I mean, that's morbid as we are talking. And Wicked is set to make Broadway history, and Sarah Silverman gears up for another HBO comedy. So we'll talk about all that. We talk about this on Friday in particular because, listen, I don't know what you're doing. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm talking in regards of like what you have planned. So you might want to talk about some of these weird and odd things that are going on. I get it. It makes sense to me. So let's talk. Let's get a little serious for a moment. We're going to bring in some professional broadcasters here in the next few moments. They're going to talk exactly what the hell's going on inside of the world because I think that we need to be updated. And people ask me this question, and I answer it from time to time on why do we do news? Well, the reason for the news is because I really, truly feel, yes, that feelings moment that we need to have right here, that you need to have something topical to talk about, opposed to just coming in and going, and let's talk about safety, because that's not what it's about. I mean, it's kind of interesting where people still have the belief system that the way to fix safety is by fixing safety. Yeah. If you haven't heard that one, well, I guess we can get into a whole other sway of things of talking about, that's for sure. So callinradio.com to interact with the show on the Freeform Friday. That's the easy fashion. What else? Oh, if you want to do the visual radio aspect, yeah, I forgot about that. I guess we should talk about that. You can go to safetyfm.com or safety.fm or radiobig.fm, whichever one you want to go to, and click on the section that says visual radio. Yeah, pretty simple. I'll tell you, I remember back in the day, we were talking about just moving it directly there. And I remember some people here lost their shit that we were just going to do it there. Because listen, I understand we hang out on social media, and sometimes I think that we piss people off that we don't interact back immediately because I just don't pay attention to it while I'm doing this. There's so many other things going on at the same time, so I do apologize. But that's kind of the way that it goes. Well, anyways, who cares about that, right? Who cares about that? Let's get serious. Let's talk about business. Let's get moving and grooving into some other things. And with that being said, let's bring in the pros newscasters because I think that's going to be important.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. The Pentagon is investigating how secret plans related to the war in Ukraine ended up on social media. The leaked information came from classified documents containing secret U.S. and NATO information. Senior Biden administration officials say plans for building up Ukraine's military for an offensive against Russia appeared on Twitter and on a platform called Telegram that has over 500 million users worldwide, including Russia. Military analysts say the estimates of casualties in the documents have been changed, increasing the number of Ukrainian casualties and lowering the number of Russian casualties. Analysts said the number changes might be a Russian effort at disinformation. 2 black Democratic lawmakers have been expelled from the Tennessee State House of Representatives over protesting for stricter gun laws. One of them is Justin Pearson.
This is wrong, this is unjust, and this is not the way that it has to be. But the Republican Party of the state of Tennessee want to keep things the same.
A Republican-controlled House removed Pearson and Justin Jones on claims they violated House rules. Democratic Representative Gloria Johnson, who is white, survived after the vote to expel her failed to receive the required two-thirds majority. The Congressional Black Caucus released a statement calling the targeted expulsions anti-democratic, morally bankrupt, and racist. The Supreme Court has rejected a West Virginia bid to enforce a ban against a transgender girl from participating in girls' sports. Brian Shook reports.
Two of the court's conservative justices, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, noted that they would have granted the ban. The 2021 Save Women's Sport Act law was challenged by 12-year-old Becky Pepper Jackson, who wanted to try out for girls cross country and track. The law asserts that gender is based only on biology and genetics at birth. I'm Brian Shook.
And the Internal Revenue Service is hiring a lot more help. The IRS said on Thursday it's going to add up to nearly 30,000 new staffers and put new technology to work over the next 2 years. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
The Biden administration has released reports on the 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan.
President Biden led a deliberate, rigorous, and inclusive decision-making process that was responsive to facts on the ground.
A summary of the chaotic exit largely blames former President Trump's administration for the problems that occurred as U.S. troops were leaving. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said President Biden was faced with limited options due to a lack of planning by his predecessor. He said no U.S. agency predicted the country would be overrun by the Taliban so quickly. 13 service members were killed in an attack in Kabul during the withdrawal. Just a third of American voters say President Biden deserves to be reelected in 2024. Lisa Taylor fills us in.
That's according to a new CNN poll. The survey found 32% of respondents think Biden should serve a second term, down from 37%, who said the same in a December poll. Another 67% of voters said he shouldn't be reelected. Biden has yet to officially announce his reelection bid, but is expected to roll out his campaign in the coming months. Nearly 70% of Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents said they just want someone besides Joe Biden. I'm Lisa Taylor.
The LSU women's basketball team says it'll gladly accept an invite to the White House despite a rift between their star player and First Lady Jill Biden. Angel Reese was upset after Jill Biden said she wanted to invite Iowa along with LSU to the White House, even though the Hawkeyes lost. A university spokesperson said the team would be more than excited to continue their celebration of their national title win over the Hawkeyes. The First Lady attempted to clear the air and walk back the invite, but Reese didn't accept her apology. And hip-hop superstar Ye is being sued by two women who taught at his private Christian school in Southern California. The women say the rapper, formerly known as Kanye West, didn't allow chairs, crossword puzzles, or coloring sheets at the pre-K through 12th grade school, and that students were fed only sushi for lunch every day. The plaintiffs claim that they repeatedly tried to bring attention to what they call unlawful and unsafe practices at Donda Academy. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/one small step, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one small step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Friday. So what do you have planned for this weekend? Listen, I will tell you, I know a lot of people that are taking off today or have a half day and all this stuff because it's being Good Friday and, of course, Sunday being Easter, which if you're not aware, almost everything's closed. At least it feels that way and what's going on. So do you have anything cool that you're doing over the weekend besides Easter egg hunting? And let's be realistic. I don't think of a lot of people that are doing boiled eggs this year because of the expense of eggs themselves. So I don't know. You got anything fun? If so, please let me know. I would love to hear what fun stuff you got going on. That is fantastic in regards of what is happening. So let me tell you a little bit about next week because we got some interesting stuff going on. I am traveling next week, so I guess I should reference that. So I am trying to figure out how we're going to do this. So I don't know if it will be an audio only or if we'll do it in some other kind of regimen in regards on how we'll do it. So I know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for sure, but we'll talk about that as we move forward. So you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff, but we'll come up with something because that's what we do. We come up with stuff. If not, I'll see if I can get somebody else to come in and do that thing that we do around here. I haven't talked to Posel in a while, so let me reach out that general direction and let's see what happens. I guess I shouldn't probably blurt my plans before the plans actually occur, but just something to think about. That's for sure. So anyways, with that being said, let's start talking about the shit list because it's always important to do that. FedEx announced that it will combine most of its ground, air, and other operations to help cut costs. The plans would see FedEx Express, FedEx Ground, FedEx Services, and other FedEx companies rolled into one unit, while FedEx Freight would continue to be the standalone. The plan, which is said to cut about $4 billion in spending, is expected to be in place by June of 2024. Holy shit, if you're saving $4 billion, yes, I did say $4 billion, I would probably go ahead and move forward and do that now. Get rid of it now. Do it now because it's $4 billion. A penny save is a penny earned. I remember hearing that by Max Schreck. Yeah, back in Batman Returns. Yeah, I'm not joking as I say that. So in some other news, a Delaware man has pleaded guilty to stealing a thumb of an ancient Chinese warrior statue valued at $4.5 million. Is that the statue or the thumb? during the holiday party at the Franklin Institute located in Philadelphia in 2017. Michael Rohana, who was just 24 at the time, stole the 2,000-year-old finger after sneaking it into a closed-off exhibit at the museum. He also posed with the terracotta cavalry man statue for a selfie when the museum staff noticed the missing digit, and the FBI traced the theft back to Rohana. He admitted to the crime and revealed that he had the thumb in his desk drawer. After a mistrial and then some delays due to COVID-19, Rohana has had his day in court this week and faces the maximum sentence of 2 years in prison and a $20,000. I guess that's a fine. He is set to be sentenced in April 17th. So here in about 10 days. The statue has one of 10 on loan among the 8,000 life-size warriors to the Franklin Institute. The warrior were built by the Chinese Emperor Qin Shi Huang, who died in 210 BCE. He is believed to would have to protect him in his afterlife. So hold on, he built these statues to protect him in his afterlife? I don't know. So what do you think here? What do you think that the justice for the crime is? 2017, so 6 years in regards to when he did it. He stole a thumb of a statue. Listen, stealing, 2 years and $20,000. I don't know. What is the correct cure for this?
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R, safety show.
Okay, so listen to this because I'm going to try to say this. Ukrainian activist Kibber Spotov, cyber resistance, hacked into an account of Mikhail Lunchin, a Russian military volunteer who was raising money to buy drones for the Russian military, and switched the purchase order to dildos. Yep, I said dildos. He is a war criminal volunteer blogger and now a dildo owner, the hacker said in the statement. In response, Luchin posted a telegram that he will open up a sex shop in Russia and buy even more drones with the money to make off the dildos. Yeah, I'm being serious. So he's going to open a sex shop to buy more drones with the money that he makes off dildos. This is coming from Politico. I'm not making this up. You can literally look this up online, and it's there that some dude did this. Not a joke whatsoever. And it's even on the New York Post. So there you go. Some stuff if you go looking. I mean, I guess when we start talking about everything, we're talking about everything.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a pilot in South Africa was forced to make an emergency landing after a venomous cobra was stowed away on the plane. Rudolph Amremis, who was traveling with four passengers, said that he felt something cold slither across his back. When he looked down, he spotted the head of a Cape Cobra. Think about that for a moment. After informing the passengers about the serpent, he made an emergency landing in Welcome, all while the cobra sat curled under his feet. Upon landing, the plane was completely stripped, but the snake was not found. According to the University of San Diego, a bite from a Cape Cobra can kill someone in 30 minutes. This is all coming via People. Not like People, but like People the magazine. But think about that for a moment. All of a sudden, I feel something cold on my back, and all of a sudden, it's a Cape Cobra. Boy, has life changed significantly as I'm flying a plane. That's for sure. And what's even scarier is that all of a sudden, now the Cobra's gone. So there you go. A couple in Michigan welcomed a daughter named Audrey on March 17th. The birth is significant as she is the first girl to be born on her dad, Andrew Clark's side of the family since 1885. Initially skeptical of the story, Andrew's wife, Carolyn, asked the parents to confirm. Her mother-in-law explained that while there had been girls born to uncles and cousins in the direct family line, only boys had been born. Sticking to tradition, Andrew and Carolyn's first child was a son. This is according to ABC News. So there you go. Some interesting stuff at the same time. Like I did say, we will talk about everything on this lovely day. So like I said, I'm not sure what the hell you have going on this weekend. So let's talk about what's in the streaming over the weekend. So here we go. New to Amazon Prime will be Jury Duty and On a Wing in Prayer. So there you go. New to Hulu for this weekend will be Beast of Burden, Medieval, Mr. Right, The Honeymoon, The Program, 13 Assassins, Jesus Camp, The Queen of Versailles. Let's see, The War with Grandpa. So there you go. You got that. And the new to Netflix will be King of Mulberry Street, Let Love Reign, Oh Belinda, and Hunger. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there, if you care to know. Anyways, let's get a little swampy-ompy for a moment here. Robert F. Kennedy filed paperwork that with the Federal Election Commission and is officially launching his 2024 presidential campaign. He joins only the other declared major Democrats candidate Marianne Wilson to challenge President Joe Biden. Kennedy is the son of Robert F. Kennedy and the nephew of John F. Kennedy. This all comes from the New York Times. Also inside of the swamp area, let's see, Gretchen Whitmer repealed the century-old abortion ban in Michigan this week. The 1931 law made it a felony to assist in abortion, but in last November's midterm, it was deemed unconstitutional and unenforceable. Michigan now joins California and Vermont in adding abortion rights to their state's constitution. This is according to AP News. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin this week, Democrat judge won a seat for the state Supreme Court, leading to a liberal majority. Wisconsin's abortion ban is also on the line. So just so you know what is going on there. So there you go. We went into the swamp and we're out of it. So there you go. I like when we get a little swampy, but not too swampy. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's talk to John Smalls and see what the hell is going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, April 7th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets moved higher Thursday to close a holiday-shortened week on a positive note. An improvement in outlook does not drive the move, so it should be viewed cautiously. The data this week has been tepid, to say the least, and is pointing to the recession that has been on the horizon for some time. With the FOMC on track to hike rates by another 25 basis points at least, the odds of a significant recession are high. Today's news includes the monthly NFP report. It is expected to echo the ADP report and show a slowdown in hiring coupled with an ongoing wage increase. The increase in wages is of concern because it is underpinning inflation. With oil prices rising again and wages still creeping higher, the FOMC may not be able to end its rate hiking streak with only one more increase. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information and letting us know what is going on inside of this. Let me tell you a little bit of the information that I was able to find. The Dow added about 3 points to close at 33,485 on Tuesday. The S&P added about 15 points to close at 4,105, and the NASDAQ added about 91 points to close at 12,088. West Texas Intermediate closed at $80 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $85 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was, $3.55 on Thursday. Bitcoin slid Thursday to 0.60, trading just over $28,000. Yep, there you go. And there was more than 4,220 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and more than 342 cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $414 million jackpot or a $221 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for a $186 million jackpot or a $98.9 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the option to do so. So there you go. So I want to share this with you, even though I would normally share this on the other show, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Do you remember that song, Every Breath You Take? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that song. Every breath you... Yeah, that song. I mean, if we were on the radio side alone, I would tell it to you, but I can't because we're doing the video aspect, which limits what we can do. So Sean Diddy Combs revealed this week that he's paying Sting $5,000 a day in royalty for using his song, Every Breath You Take in 1997, I'll Be Missing You. In a 2018 interview, Sting said that Diddy only asked for permission to sample his song after he had already been released, adding that we're good friends now, and it was a beautiful version of the song. So $5,000 a day since 1997. Think about that for a moment. I mean, geez, I would be good friends too. Think about it. So I don't know. Kind of makes you wonder about some things in regards of what is going on. So just the ordo of all stuff. Let's go into some other news on some things that are happening. So let's talk. Let's take a look around and see what is going on inside of here. So take a listen to this real quick. A new poll shows that Americans are more and more worried about drug use and affordable health care. Listen to what Trey Thomas has to say.
A Gallup survey shows the number of Americans who worry a great deal about drugs is up 8 percentage points since last year, now 46%. The number of respondents who are concerned about the affordability and availability of health care is up 5 points to 54%. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for the information right there as we are taking a lookser right there. Anyways, take a listen to this. Israel says that it hits targets belonging to the Palestinian militant group Hamas in southern Lebanon and Gaza today. Mark Mayfield reports.
The airstrikes were in retaliation for rockets fired from Lebanon into Israel after Israeli police stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem earlier this week. The Israeli Defense Forces said the airstrikes in southern Lebanon were focused mainly on Palestinian targets believed to have launched rockets into Israel. The Lebanese National News Agency reported damage to homes, cars, a livestock pen, and other infrastructure. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for that information right there as we are hanging and talking and doing all that stuff. Anyways, a University of Michigan survey, of over 9,000 state-licensed nurses in Michigan has revealed that 39% of them plan to quit their job this year. Christopher Fries is the lead author of the study.
The two things they want help on are increasing and improving staffing that's been chronically short for 10 years, and that they are the victims of violent events in their workplaces.
Yeah, nobody wants violence in their workplace, that's for sure. The state has already a nurse shortage, and healthcare institutions have been struggling to hire more. The survey also found that about 59% of nearly the trained nurses younger than 25 are planning to leave their current job this year, in a study published by the Journal of Medical Care. Nurses surveyed by lead author Christopher Fries says that 59% of the nurses under the age of 25 plan to quit.
We expect nurses to retire. We expect nurses to move on. But when our newest entrants to the field are saying to us that they want to leave their employer in their position in the first year, I think that should set off alarm bells that things are not well.
Yeah, I would think that would be the case, too. I agree with you on that comment. Take a listen to this. Congressional Black Caucus is calling Tennessee state's lawmakers' decision to expel 2 black Democrats representative anti-democratic, morally corrupt, and racist. Here's what Trey Thomas has to share.
The state's Republican-controlled House voted Thursday to remove Representatives Justin Jones and Justin Pearson on claims they violated House rules by protesting for stricter gun laws on the chamber floor. Jones says he doesn't know what's next for him.
I don't have any next steps, but I will continue to show up in this Capitol with these young people, whether I'm in that chamber or outside.
Democratic Representative Gloria Johnson, who is white, survived after the vote to expel her failed to receive the required 2/3 majority. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for the information. It'll be interesting to see what happens here with this one over the next few, because that's always the way that it goes. It's always the next few that makes everything a little bit more interesting. This one's coming out of New York, New York. Take a listen. A 22-year-old New York PD officer is still in the hospital after getting shot yesterday in Queens. Lisa G. reports.
The search grows for the man accused of shooting the officer in the hip. Police have released new photos of the suspect, who they're calling armed and dangerous. In addition, there's now a $20,000 reward leading to an arrest. Mayor Adams paid a visit to the rookie cop, who underwent surgery overnight. Lisa G., NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Lisa G., for that information right there. Hey, I got a lot more information for you as well, so don't disappear, because, hey, it is 34 minutes past the top of the hour.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Tokyo, I'm Chris Gilbert. The White House is blaming the chaotic withdrawal of the American military from Afghanistan on Donald Trump. A new 12-page post-mortem of the withdrawal says the decisions made by Trump significantly limited President Joe Biden's options in 2021. It says President Trump's administration lined up the plan with no vision or consensus on how to actually conduct it. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby says ending the decades-long occupation was the right call in the end.
We can more squarely address the most pressing challenges of our day. America is on a stronger strategic footing, more capable to support Ukraine and to meet our security commitments around the world because it is not fighting a ground war in Afghanistan.
Israel's launched a barrage of missile strikes on Lebanon and Gaza. It says the attack is retaliatory for rockets reportedly launched from South Lebanon earlier in the week, which Israel blames on the Palestinian group Hamas. It follows the Israeli Defense Force conducting several consecutive nights of raids on the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem and warplane assaults of the Gaza Strip, which saw 20 Israeli missiles strike Gaza within 10 minutes. US-China tensions are growing amidst a flurry of diplomatic activity around Taiwan. A group from the US House Foreign Affairs Committee arrived on the island Thursday, the day after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy defied China by meeting President Tsai Ing-wen. There's heightened anticipation if and how Beijing will react. Last year, it fired a rocket over Taiwan following a visit by then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Kate Fisher has more from Washington.
This really is kind of a flurry of diplomatic activity between the US and Taiwan at the moment, and it just reflects the seriousness with which Washington takes the rising aggression and threat that they see Beijing as posing. Michael McCall saying that he was there with his delegation to harden Taiwan so that China would think twice about invading. He also said that this trip was important because they wanted to discuss not just regional security, but trade and investment with Taiwan as well. And that's something that Kevin McCarthy talked about when he stood next to President Tsai, the importance of these kind of trade and economic ties between the two countries. It's not just a defense and China issue.
Japan's Coast Guard is searching for survivors after a Defense Force helicopter went down during a surveillance flight near Okinawa on Thursday. Response ships have found wreckage and oil floating in the water off Miyako Island, about 250 miles east of Taiwan. 10 people were on board the helicopter when it went silent shortly after takeoff, including 2 pilots, 2 mechanics, and 6 personnel, including a general. A still-folded, undeployed life raft has been recovered. It's not yet known how the accident occurred. Conditions at the time were moderate. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail at French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to Beijing, where he sought to enjoin President Xi Jinping to play a more constructive role to bring the war in Ukraine to an end. President Macron told the Chinese leader that he was counting on him to bring Russia to its senses. But does President Xi have that capacity, and would he be willing to try and bring Russia and Ukraine to the negotiating table? Ian Williams is a former Beijing correspondent for ITN's Channel 4 News in the UK.
Clearly, China has an awful lot of influence over Russia. Whether it chooses to exercise that influence is another matter. And I think there's a lot of wishful thinking in Washington, but even more so in European capitals, that somehow China can be persuaded to play a more constructive role, as Macron put it today, that he can perhaps persuade Xi to see reason and to put pressure on Putin in Moscow. And yes, China could, if it chose to, play a critical role, but I don't see any sign of it wanting to, because it's too much in its own interests to support Putin.
The Russians dismissed President Macron's overtures, saying there are no prospects for a peaceful settlement in the conflict. Chinese and French officials say the talks in Beijing were frank and friendly. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main headlines again. The White House is blaming America's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan on former President Donald Trump. Israel has launched a barrage of missile strikes on Lebanon and Gaza. All eyes are on if and how China will react following the arrival of a U.S. delegation in Taiwan. And Japan's Coast Guard is searching for survivors after a self-defense force helicopter went down near Okinawa on Thursday. And that's the latest feature story news. Chris Gilbert reporting.
Always replicated, but never duplicated. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills? God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Shoulders, well, I'm just tossing by the wayside. There's a secret to your majesty. I wanna know it 'cause I can't make you forget me. But what you waiting for? And that I just wanna see you care more. I'm not gonna kiss you.
the Rated R Safety Show, or hour number one of the Jay Allen of the Morning Show, however you want to take a look at it. We are still broadcasting on Safety FM and Radio Big, and you can hear us on iHeart Radio. Yes, there is no doubt about that. It is 44 minutes past the top of the hour. This little song right here, this is Oceanic with Care More. You can do a little streaming action from Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube Music. So, a lot of stuff going on as we are hanging out. So, there you go. I'd like to thank Oceanic for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. There you go, there you go, there you go. Let's get into the move and the groove of the things that are going on inside of this world, because it's always important to talk about everything that is going on. And let me tell you about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you or your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org, or call 988 or text the word TALK to 988. That will get everything moving and grooving for you. Listen, these are difficult times. I get it, but we still need to talk about it. We still need to go through everything that is going on, opposed to just saying, hey, just deal with it. It's not how that works. And I understand that there are all kinds of categories that this can fall into. This could be disaster survivors. This can be ayuda en español. It can be attempt survivors. It can be maternal mental health, veterans, youth, you name it, and it's there one way, shape, or form. Listen, if you're not sure what to do, or if you just want to do the chat aspect of it, go to 988lifeline.org. They even have the chat right there on the main page. So keep that in mind as you are moving and grooving through everything that is going on. There is no doubt as we are talking. So let's talk real quick about some other things that are going on. Take a listen to this real quick. Video reportedly shows a bystander ignored dying Cash App founder Bob Lee as he begged for help. Mark Mayfield has more information.
The 43-year-old creator of the mobile payment app was found stabbed to death near downtown San Francisco early Tuesday morning. Surveillance footage obtained by the San Francisco Standard shows Lee lifting his shirt to show a driver of a parked car his stab wound, but collapsed to the ground as the car drove off. No arrests have been announced, and the incident has sparked outrage over San Francisco's growing crime problem. I'm Mark Mayfield.
So here's my question. So there was a video of him trying to get somebody to help him, but there's not the video of the actual stabbing? I'm just asking. So I'm just asking the question. Take a listen to this. It's time for two DC transforms to pack up and go.
Autobots, fall back!
A Georgetown University professor has a massive statue of a bumblebee, an Optimus Prime, outside of his home, but the group that reviews exterior changes in Georgetown's historic district voted yesterday that they must be removed. Dr. Newton Howard claims that while some considered the statues an eyesore, even more love them, he says that he'll now look into legal options to keep them up. So, I mean, how much do you love these things?
Autobots, fall back!
Yes, we're talking about Transformers here, just in case if you were wondering. But, man, that gets interesting, and that gets interesting quick. So there you go. Anyways, the potential arena in downtown Kalamazoo, Michigan is a step closer to reality after Kalamazoo County Board Commissioner approved the sale of the two parcels of the land that it owns. Chairman John Taylor says that the arena would be the biggest development in Kalamazoo history.
It's a game changer. As I said 2 weeks ago, this is a $300 million investment into our city. It's $54 million of economic input every single year.
So the commission held a special meeting last night, deadlocking 4-4 earlier this week over the land sale due to the question raised from the contract. The deal requires 20% of the food and beverage space for business owners from historically or economically disadvantaged community. Kalamazoo Commissioner Jen Streb said that there were issues with the original land sale contract.
We were presented a contract on Tuesday with multiple legal issues involved in it. Some of our commissioners were ready to move forward and sign that contract. I made sure that we elevated those concerns and addressed them.
So there you go. Some concerns have been addressed. So there you go. Let's stay in Michigan for a moment. The Grand Rapids Fire Department is using drones to watch the rising Grand River. Captain Mike Witten looked into the river flooding homes on the north end of the city yesterday, and the Patrol-in-Chief Scott Stevenson is spotting for him.
We can fly different parts of the river, see what the flood stage is at.
So he has says that he gets better view from above where the river stands, and any breaks in floodwaters, there will be a river is too high for their boats. The department has been using drones for at least 5 years. Let's see, GFD Patrol-in-Chief Scott Stevenson says that using drones to watch the river makes it easier to respond to floods.
It's a lot easier with the drone because you can cover a lot of space up and down both sides without having to drive around.
So hold on, I want to make sure that I understand that. If you have something that can hover over the river, it's a lot easier to cover a lot more space than having to be in the river trying to go through it. Pretty interesting on how that works. I mean, come on. Let's kind of think about some of that stuff before we say it out loud. So there you go. So take a listen to this. Adult film actress Stormy Daniels says that she would absolutely testify against former President Trump in the criminal case in New York goes to trial. Mark Mayfield has the details.
In an interview with Piers Morgan Uncensored, Daniels said she looks forward to testifying as she claims she's the only one who has been telling the truth. Trump on Tuesday pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. The charges are related to hush money payments made to Daniels during the 2016 presidential campaign to cover up an alleged affair. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, so there you go. Some information there. Let's do another one off of that. New York Congresswoman Nicole Malakis says that the former President Trump won't get a fair trial in Manhattan. Natalie Migliori has more.
First of all, I think the whole thing should be dismissed.
But if it's not, Maliotakis says, as it stands now, Manhattan voters will make up the jury for Trump's trial.
And quite frankly, they elected a district attorney who ran on he was going to get President Trump.
Trump suggested moving his criminal case regarding hush money payments during the 2016 election to Staten Island. Maliotakis agrees that's where Trump would be more fairly judged.
Because, just based on voter registration, you have more Democrats than Republicans. However, it was a much closer election for President Trump.
I'm Natalie Migliori, NBC News Radio, New York.
What the hell was going on in the back? Was she like in a car with the blinker on? I mean, what the hell? What the hell? Anyways, let's talk about something a little bit more positive. And what does that mean exactly? Let's bring some John Smalls in here once again and let him tell you about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Amy. C.S. Lewis said, "To be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you." I love that. As a Christian, I will be the first one to say, I am not perfect. Matter of fact, I'm far from it. But I don't need to be perfect. Nobody will be perfect. It's not going to happen. We're all imperfect humans. But that's okay. We're not expected to be perfect. We're actually expected to understand that we are not perfect and accept that. We can ask for forgiveness as often as they need to. We'll hopefully learn as we go to become a better person along the path, but even in the end, we're going to fall short of perfection. We can confess our imperfections and ask for forgiveness, but we'll still never be perfect. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlyssaMorgan.com. There is a simple protocol that will allow you to establish your ideal sleep-wake rhythm, synchronize your circadian system, and also offset some of the known negative health effects of viewing bright artificial light at night. It requires no purchase, and it's a simple behavior well supported by scientific studies in humans and animals. The first thing to do is to view sunlight in the early part of your day, as close to waking up as possible. But of course, if you wake up before the sun comes out, you'll have to wait for it. Face mist. Do not wear sunglasses. Blink as necessary to protect your eyes. Eyeglasses and contacts are fine. Do that for 10 minutes on a clear day and up to 30 minutes on a cloudy day. And keep in mind that it is especially important to do it on cloudy days. For more information on wellness, check out alessamorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Jesus suffered verbal abuse and physical violence at the hands of the religious leaders. The high priest and the Sanhedrin charged him with blasphemy and condemned him to death. They incited the Jewish mob to scream for his blood, demanding that Pilate crucify him. Pilate ordered him scourged, and he was beaten nearly to death. Then the Romans crucified him. On the cross, he suffered hours of unspeakable agony. Peter says, Christ suffered for our sins once for all time. That's 1 Peter 3:18. Lord Jesus, thank you for dying for us. Remember us when you come into your kingdom. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, yes. There you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's start talking real quick about some things that are going on. Let's talk about something that happened back on this date. Taking a look at 2020, China ends its lockdown in Wuhan, the city that is at the center of the COVID-19 pandemic, after 76 days. The decision was made after there were no new deaths reported for the first time since the virus started. That happened back in 2020. If we're talking about some birthdays for today, let's talk about some of those. And here's what they sound like. Anne Mary turns 32, Ed Spieler 35, Anna Conkey 36, Nico Santos 44, John Cooper 48, Tiki Barber 48, Mackenzie Scott turns 53, Russell Crowe turns 59, Jackie Chan turns 69, Francis Ford Coppola turns 84, and Jerry Brown turns 85 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. Well, of course, it's Good Friday. It's World Health Day, National Beer Day, International Beaver Day, Walk to Work Day. Hold on, how do you walk to work on Good Friday? Most works are closed. National No House Work Day. I think that's celebrated more than just one day, just throwing that out there. Let's see, National Making the First Move Day, and Poet in a Cupcake Day. How the hell do you put a poet in a cupcake? Maybe that's the question to ask. That's a weird one. That's a weird one to come about. There is no doubt about that as we are talking about it. So there you go. Listen, if you want to hang out with me for a couple more hours, you're more than welcome on doing so. I will be going over to radiobig.fm and doing that thing that we do on that other side of the equation. All you have to do is go to radiobig.fm. We'll talk about music. We'll talk about entertainment news and all that kind of fun stuff. I know some of the stuff that I talk about at the very beginning that we're going to talk about, I talk about it during hour 2 and 3, and then some more, to be quite honest with you. So you can hang out over there if you want to come out and do the stuff on radiobig.fm. So there you go. If you don't, and you want to stick around on Safety FM, well, the Safety Consultant Show will come up next with Sheldon Primus talking about what the hell is going on in the world of safety consulting. So there you go. You have that as well, too. As I said, we'll figure out what we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll figure it out because that's what we do. We figure things out around here. That's the easiest format of doing stuff. So there you go. Some stuff to think about there. And that's it. That's going to pretty much end our time together. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for always being the most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. I have said that for a long time, and I truly mean it. I'm not making that up. Anyways, enjoy your Good Friday, if it's a good one for you. Remember, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, things will be what you make them to be. Things won't be what you don't make them to be. That's always the fun part about life. If you go in with one model, you can definitely come out with that same one. Just kind of have to put your brain behind the whole thing. That's interesting on how that ends up working. Think about it. It will take you to places that you never thought you would go. That is for sure. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.